1 month ago, a rookie point guard was absorbing harder hits than any stat sheet could track, and the referees swallowed their whistles. Why did the first voice of outrage come from Steph Curry instead of the league office? That single question detonated across sports talk shows, and it's where our story begins. Steph had been courtside, arms folded, watching Caitlin Clark pick herself up off the hardwood for the 3rd time that night. After the final buzzer, the greatest shooter alive stared into a camera and fired a warning. He was sick of watching Caitlin get attacked, and if the league didn't step in, things were going to get ugly real fast. 20 million views later, the fuse was firmly lit. But Steph's rant was only the spark. LeBron James was the gasoline. LeBron is usually surgical, choosing each public word the way he chooses playoff matchups, yet he didn't mince anything this time. He praised Clark's three-point range, sure, but then pivoted straight to economics. Because of her, WNBA teams had just flown private for the first time in league history, a charter bill north of 7 figures. That should be celebrated all on its own, he said, and if she's the catalyst, respect her like one. Overnight, charter flights trended above several NBA playoff scores, and veterans who'd spent a decade crammed into commercial coach suddenly had a reason to cheer for a rookie's paycheck. And that's when the avalanche hit. Pascal Siakam, fresh off a post-game podium, was asked a softball, who gets the most love from fans. He didn't name an NBA teammate or even an NBA rival. He looked deadpan into the mic and said, "Caitlin Clark." The timestamp traveled the internet at sprint speed. Why is a 2-time All-Star putting a W rookie above a fellow multimillionaire? Because the numbers back him up. Social metric trackers now list Clark's daily mentions above Tyrese Halliburton's, Kevin Durant's, and half the league combined. Tyrese himself doubled down. He's seen Clark around town, shared practice gyms, watched her film between Pacers shoot-arounds. Top 5 most famous players in basketball right now, period, he insisted, then calmly listed LeBron, Steph, Jokic, and Caitlin Clark. Not women's basketball, not college hoops, basketball. Hard stop. Luka Doncic, never one to coach sugar opinions, got cornered with a quick fire question. Favorite women's player? He answered before the question mark landed. Caitlin Clark. The follow-up tried to pivot him to Paige Buickers. Luka shrugged. I haven't seen her in the W. Translation. College hype is cool, but Clark is already eating elbow sandwiches in the pros and still lighting up box scores. Real recognizes real. Even Trae Young took notice. During a Twitch stream the week Atlanta's season ended, someone tossed him the idea of a 3-point duel at All-Star Weekend. Trae chuckled, leaned back, and said he'd have to practice more than ever for Clark. When a man who regularly sinks 30-footers admits he'd need extra reps, that's respect disguised as Chopin offered the simplest testimony. Cameras caught him at a fever game, half standing every time Clark crossed half court. Later, he was asked why. It's a joy to watch, he said, eyes wide the way a kid describes fireworks. A 6'8" dunk machine reduced to fanboy status. Add that clip to the viral pile. But not every headline was cheerleading. 2 superstars went ice cold, and the backlash was instant. Jason Tatum asked for his favorite W player, deadpanned Aja Wilson, and pivoted his gaze like the question bored him. Perfectly legal answer, totally legal shade. Social feeds erupted with hashtag say her name, Caitlin memes within minutes. Kevin Durant's pivot was saltier. On a podcast lightning round, favorite female athlete, he blurted Angel Reese. Nothing wrong with Reese, but considering she's Clark's most public rival, fans read it as a pointed snub. Comment sections exploded. Was KD dismissing the biggest ratings engine in women's sports on purpose? Probably. Durant knows how media works. He's played it like a 6'10" violin for years. And Durant's snub peeled back a messy truth. Inside the W, not everyone is thrilled about the rookie glow-up. Veterans who hustled a decade on $70,000 contracts suddenly watch a 22-year-old headline, prime time TV, and, within weeks, trigger charter flights they've begged for since rookie orientation. In private WhatsApp chats, some vets call it inspiring, others call it a slap. One anonymous all-defense guard told a blogger, "We built this house brick by brick." She shows up with a film crew and gets the keys. She added a shrug emoji, but resentment rarely stays digital. Paul George, never afraid of nuance, spelled it out on his own podcast. Girls have been grinding to grow the game. Then you have somebody come along and is an instant change. Translation: greatness can bruise egos. He wasn't knocking Clark. He was reality checking the shift. Every era has tipping points. This was one, and tips bleed. The numbers keep bleeding in Clark's favor. Television executives released viewership charts the week after her second 30-point outburst. Saturday matinee games that once drew 400,000 viewers are clearing 2 million. Merchandise? Jerseys on backorder till September. Secondary ticket markets list mid-week fever seats higher than some lower bowl NBA games. One Chicago-Indiana rematch briefly overtook Yankees ticket prices. That's not hype, that's revenue. Sponsors smelled blood in the best way. A sneaker brand offered Clark an 8-figure deal rumored to eclipse every current W contract combined. Her Instagram engagement now outpunches 5 entire WNBA franchises' official accounts, added together. For advertisers chasing Gen Z eyeballs, that isn't a stat, it's a neon ATM sign. Money breeds scrutiny, and the hits kept coming. Literally. Analysts tracking non-basketball contact. Fouls found Clark absorbed 37% more body checks per minute than any other player over her first 20 games. Yet league fines stayed pocket change small, and public statements stayed silent, which only fed the perception she was being hung out to dry. When repeated elbows to the ribs meet repeated silence, conspiracy hashtags write themselves. Then came the Olympic snub. USA Basketball released its roster, and Clark's name was nowhere. PR said, roster balance. Fans heard, politics. Inside sources whispered fear of distraction. Others said certain vets threatened to quit. Whatever the motive, the optics were gasoline on a bonfire. A rookie selling out arenas couldn't even make the 12-woman cut. Twitter renamed the roster the No Fun 12. Even LeBron carefully tweeted a single side-eye emoji. It racked up 500,000 likes. Clark's response? A syllable short, "I'm excited for the break. Gives me time to train." Cameras caught her next workout. A silent Midwest gym, floodlights humming, her jumper snapping nylon 35 feet out. No words needed. So where does all this turbulence point? Greatness never leaves a room unchanged, and Clark is rearranging the furniture in real time. She's already the reason charter flights are booked, the reason ratings look like stock splits, the reason NBA stars argue on podcasts. She's also the reason jealous elbows fly, and the reason Olympic politics trends in July. Love her or loathe her, the floor moves when she walks. The veterans who paved the road are justified in demanding credit. The rookies coming after her will demand bigger pay, because she proved bigger pay exists. The league office will finally have to set transparent flagrant foul guidelines, or risk looking complicit every time she hits hardwood. Even the NBA, protective of its own spotlight, now shares nightly airtime with a 22-year-old who hasn't played 50 pro games. And the scariest part? She's just getting started. She hasn't won a playoff series, hasn't hoisted a trophy, hasn't even cashed that rumored sneaker check. What happens when she hits her first half-court game winner on national TV? What happens when a kid in Serbia or Senegal or suburban Ohio buys a basketball because of her, not because of Steph? We're about to find out. Because moments like this don't drift away quietly. They push, they grind, they collide with tradition until something cracks. Maybe Jason Tatum changes his answer next time. Maybe Kevin Durant sticks to burner tweets. Maybe the W finally hands out max contracts that sound like, well, max contracts. Or maybe the backlash swells, the hits keep coming, and the league proves too slow to shield its newest meal ticket. Whatever the outcome, one truth is impossible to ignore. Caitlin Clark has forced basketball, men's and women's, to pick a side. And when greatness demands a verdict, no one gets to plead the fifth. Not fans, not media, not even silent referees. So buckle up. The shift is already in motion, and the next chapter starts the very moment this video ends. And if that doesn't make you double-check the Fever's next tip-off time, nothing will.